Hello, drum school and drummer friends. It's Alan here. Hope everybody's keeping well. Right, we are in the Rock School Grade 1 Talk Through series. And now we're going to look at Kaiser roll, which is one of Rock School's own pieces. It's on page 30 of your book. Remember, have your book and your sticks. Hopefully, you're sitting at your kit as well. But if you're not, go for the air drums just to work on some of the coordination on these before you sit at the kit and have a go at working on this. All right, so we've got 3 sections in Kaiser roll. We're just going to start at the start because the very first bar we're going to play what I refer to as a sort of a little rhythmic riff. Guitar players have their riffs, piano players, all the rest of it. We have our rhythmic riffs sometimes. All right. And it's just a little rhythmic phrase, and in this case this pops up about 10 times in this piece, so we've got to get to grips with it right away. All right, so it's kind of, I'm going to do it slowly. 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and, just repeating the first bar, and you can hear me count that 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and crotchet rest, and then beat 4. All right, so that's what you want to start with. Get used to playing that, and then, as I say, it crops up. Sometimes we embellish it with either an open hi-hat or a crash cymbal, but essentially the core rhythm is the same as the one in the very first bar. All right, the next bar, we'll just look at bar 2, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 4, 1, 2, and. Okay, there's quite a few pieces in grade 1, and if you've been looking through all of these, you'll see that and of 2, 1, 2, and. Certainly some quarter note or crotchet based grooves in some of the pieces in Liberation and in Yeah that uses the 1, 2, and. But they're occasionally playing some of them on the hi-hat as crotchets, not as quavers, all right? But this crops up a lot, gives that little push to the rhythm, and again, you want to get used to doing that. We want to try it slowly. The overall tempo, as you can see, if you've got your pick in front of you, is 115 crotchet beats per minute. So this is quite fast, I think, for grade 1 players. But, it'll stretch you. But that's what we're here for. Just trying to hear this metronome. There we go. It's that speed there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So eventually, it's going to be about that tempo. That's the first 4 bars, all right? You got to watch at bar 4. I have a lot of students, whenever they get to bar 4, they automatically put that little push in on the end of 2. And I'm saying, well, actually in that bar, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's our simple pop rhythm. Yeah? So you just got to watch that. However, tempo's quite fast, so take it slowly and then gradually work your way up to playing it up to speed. All right, so we're still in section A. We're going to work our way down. We're going to work our way down to line 4. This sort of idea might be new to you, where we're playing the hi-hat and snare on the beat, okay? Snare drum on the beat. So we're on the line 4, which is bar 8. So we're going to play, again, I'm going to do it slowly. 1 and 2, 3, 4. Let's do that again. 1 and 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we've got to mix that in to the groove as we're playing, all right? The next 2 bars has our little rhythmic riff again, 1 and 2, and this time with an open hi-hat. And again, I'm going to do the open hi-hat techniques for all the pieces as a separate lesson, as one separate lesson. Don't worry, I'll say, I'll give the name of the piece that has this technique that we need to work on, and then I'll demonstrate how we're actually going to do it. But I don't want to get into it in each individual case, just to say that it's there, and when we play those 2 bars, which is bar 9 and 10, 3 lines up from the bottom, it's going to sound like this. All right, but we'll get into that in the separate lesson on the grade 1 hi-hat techniques used in the pieces. Okay, so you need to check that video out. So those 2 bars. Next bar I think is relatively straightforward for grade 1 students. And then we have a fill. We have a drum fill before we go to section B. So the way to do it, whenever you're learning how to move from playing a groove to a fill, which essentially is what us drummers do. You know, we play rhythms and then we play drum fills. And I'm going to do a lesson at some stage. I keep meaning to do it on drum fills. What is a drum fill? Essentially, a drum fill is a little connecting pattern between one section and another section, you know, and I think we kind of get that, don't we? So it helps us to move or maybe change or go to a different part of the kit to play something different that's going to add to the song, that's going to show the listener that we're moving on in the song. And that's exactly what we're doing here. But before we think about section B, we'll do the bar before B, which is that fill. So what I would suggest is, with your main hand, because again, with me being right-handed, sometimes I forget to say that, you know, if you're left-handed, swap everything around. But if you're right-handed like me, and again, we're going to do it slowly, I'm going to do bar 11 going in to bar 12. Here we go. Here's our fill. All right, so I'm moving from the hi-hat to the snare drum, using my lead hand, right hand, right foot. If you're left-handed, left hand, left foot. Okay, you're going to be playing it like this. All right, but it's going to be easier for you, if you're left-handed, to go left, right, left, because your left foot is going to be playing the bass drum. But for us right-handed drummers, right hand, right foot is always going to be easier to play than the other way around, okay? So let's do that again. Here we go. Right, left, rest. All right? Rest. I have so many students, and when they come to that, they forget about the rest, and they dash straight into section B, and I go, whoa, what happened to the crotchet rest? So we get the pencil out and put it lightly, okay? If you're ever writing in your book, make it nice and light, so enough you can see it, but also that you can rub it out, because we don't want to rely on the notes that we write, you know, on our pages. We want to get into reading the chart and only use any of those notes to as a quick reminder, okay? So we've got a crotchet rest, then we're into section B. So let's look at section B. Section B, we are on the ride cymbal. All right? And I think, fair to say, that if you're at grade 1, you should be able to play these rhythms. All right? They're dead straightforward. I have a series called Rhythm Builders that I do with the students, and they play these rhythms before we ever go anywhere near grade 1. But by the time then they get to grade 1, they go, oh yeah, I recognize that. That's from Rhythm Builders. All right? So here we go. It starts with a crash, and then we're going to play. I'll just play a few of these bars because, as I say, they should be relatively straightforward for grade 1 players. 1. Top of the page. Etc., etc. All right, you can check out my playthrough of Kaiser. Make sure I'm doing it right, and then come back to this, okay? So on the playthrough, you'll hear me play the whole lot, all right? But we've moved on to the ride cymbal, and we're just starting off with that crash there, okay? So that's section B, and it finishes with 2 crashes, and make sure you count them right. The metronome is still ticking. Let's get the right tempo. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to do, I'll just do 2 bars before C. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So we're going to finish on the 1, 2, 3, 4 on the crash. And again, make sure you count that right. All right, so that's section B. Section C starts with another crash, but hey, do you recognize that this is our little rhythmic riff? All right, so we're just playing the rhythmic riff, but we're embellishing it. We're going to add in a crash. So here we go. Slowly. Whoops. And an open hi-hat at the end. Okay, now that proves to be a little bit tricky for a lot of my students. So you need to practice that slowly. You need to practice moving from your crash to your hi-hat. Okay? 1 and 2 and 3, 4. If I haven't said it before, the way I like to think about moving around the cymbals is if you have like one big cymbal. Okay, so if we're playing the crash and then going on to the ride, it's just like we're moving from one part of the cymbal. It's a little bit of psychology, really, moving from one part of this pretend big cymbal, imaginary big cymbal, to the other. All right, and also make sure that you move on to the bow. Try not to play the bell. Try not to play the edge. All right, 3 parts of the cymbal: the bow, the bell, and the edge. All right, try to keep it on the bow whenever you're playing those notes in section B. Okay, so anyway, we're in section C. Hopped about there. Let's do that again. So we're going to play our crash 1 again. If we're thinking about our imaginary giant cymbal, again, we're just going to move from this part to that part. Okay, try not to separate those things out in your mind just too much, because at the end of the day, we've got to play the notes that we're being asked to play and then move swiftly from one part to the next. So the note values don't change. So we need to be able to do that, whether it's going from section A to B on the ride cymbal, or section B to C, back to the hi-hat, but then kicking off with a crash. All right? So again, a lot of the rhythms we're going to play we've already done in section A, and then the very last line we have crotchets. Not as some of my grade 1 students do. They think it's a random hit and they're just whacking away on the crash. I say, hold on. They're all crotchets, quarter notes. We've got to give them the right value. So if this is our tempo, all right, so they're not random hits on the crash cymbal. They are crotchets, and we've got to play them like that, and the crotchet rests as well. Okay, so that's Kaiser roll. As I say, these are just a quick talk through. Hopefully that covers the main points for you as you work on Kaiser roll, and I hope you enjoy doing that. It's one of our favourite ones here with students, and everybody enjoys getting stuck in to Kaiser roll. Hope you enjoy that too, and I hope that helps. Right, onwards and upwards. We're going to look at another piece, and you can check that out in the selection that I have here of all the pieces that we're doing the talk through. Just remember, the hi-hat techniques are in a separate video. All right, the hi-hat techniques for all of the grade 1 pieces are in a separate video. Check that out. See you in the next one. Just a minute.